What about that saltpetre pit?
They haven't. We've got our hands full with other matters, if you hadn't. That's why I hope you'd
All right, then. I'll look around for that saltpetre pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look. That you can point me in the right direction. And also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpetre if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpetre, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. And you don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily-liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpetre, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
You have a secret storage space? You're full of surprises, Crazel.
What's so surprising about that?
Well, actually, it makes sense. I reckon you can't just make a golem in the mill. So how do I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget. You could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth, Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
If Bonnie spends time with Zinnik, she may want some spirits rather than herbs.
Bonnie? Never. Being a decent Christian, she avoids alcohol like the plague. Right along, so you're back as soon as possible.
To the lair.
Farewell. And wash up a bit so you don't scare anyone, huh?
What was that noise? Woodcutters? Go! Whoa!
Lord be with you.
I'm Henry, Miller Crazel's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit, and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
The Butcher of Vranik.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I'm sorry. I've got nothing for you.
I reckon I'll just have to scrape together the ingredients for that magic ritual myself.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Crazel tell you about the golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like, but I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpetre.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpetre, I won't keep you.
No. I have plenty of time. But where to start?
You know what? I'll start. When they caught Zenek in Troskovitz, I was scared out of my mind that they'd catch me and clap me in the stocks. I had to hide out here for a while, so I haven't had anyone to talk to. Life in the lair isn't all fun and games. Zenek and all the other mill knuckleheads were never worth much as company. So I'm glad the miller's finally found a normal hand for once. You've got a beautiful dog. What's his name?
Mutt.
What a cute fella. How did you find each other?
Among the wolves. Not a word of a lie. That is, I lost him, and then found him again in a wolf pack.
Well, that's what I call an interesting past. I used to have a dog, but I don't anymore.
He died.
He started getting these lumps all over his body. He stopped eating, just slept all the time. And then, well, what's done is done. And what about you? What kind of family are you from? Also, thieves?
No. Pa was a blacksmith. I inherited something from him, I hope.
Oh, really? Would you teach me how to make, maybe, barrel hoops?
Those are pretty hard. Wouldn't you rather start with, maybe nails?
Sure. I'm pretty quick to learn and patient. That is, with one exception. When Crazel starts spouting off his alchemy theories, I'd rather run for the hills. What do you think of the old miller, anyway?
He seems awfully mystical. He has lots of experience, like as if he's lived for hundreds of years.
It's his beard that does that. Don't let it fool you. Thanks for talking to me. It really is good to have someone to pour my heart out to. But now, about that saltpetre. Before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, We collected saltpetre all over the place, mainly in styes. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. You know. Anyhow, now all the styes in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpetre.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Krazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpetre pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Krazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpetre forms. Do you have any idea?
Certainly. Well, you take a chunk of salt and pray to St. Peter to miraculously transform it.
You won't find it any joking matter soon enough. Don't forget that saltpetre crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpetre pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave, the best natural saltpetre maker.
Krazel said saltpetre is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpetre or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a a saltpetre mine.
The local gravedigger?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the knacker.
Oh, I haven't met him yet. Where can I find him?
The cemetery is beyond Troskovitz, towards the Apollonia rocks.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskovitz butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, the butcher of Vranyig.
I heard you could...
There's no time. See you later, my friend.
Go!
Leave.
Yeah! Go! Quick! Whoa, whoa! Quick! Whoa, whoa!
Christ, can't you wash up before going out in public?
You must be the local gravedigger, right? I'm Henry.
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
None of that. I have a different, slightly unusual request. Bonnie from Lower Semine sent me. We're looking for a saltpetre pit.
From Lower Semine? What pit?
A saltpetre pit.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that. What's it supposed to be? A pit to hell?
Nah, it's actually just a pit full of carcasses. These white crystals form on the walls of it, and that's exactly what we're after.
Ah, now I get it. You should have said you're looking for the pit I throw carcasses into. What's all this about salty Peter? I'm going to go there anyway, so I'll take you there.
Really? That was easier than I thought.
Not even a chicken scratches in the dirt without hope of reward, though. You'll help me with something first. I have some collections from some Slatigo farmsteads, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use a helping hand. At least one day I can take it a bit easy.
You want me to help you with your grave digging business?
Why not? You look like a strong fella. You'll be a good helper.
I have a better idea. You tell me where I can find that pit, and I'll give you a nice piece of fresh meat for it.
I won't say no to that. Show me what you have. Oh, aye, fresh meat. What a feast that'll make. Now, listen closely. That pit of yours lies at the end of a long journey that we'll take together on my wagon.
So you got meat out of me for nothing?
When I see how much you lot in Lower Semine are interested in it, I'm not just going to hand it to you on a plate. But thanks for the meat, and don't worry about a thing. Grave digging is a job like any other. Sooner or later, everyone needs our services. And if it wasn't for us knackers, folk would have to deal with their animal carcasses themselves.
Of course, I understand. I'm just a little worried about what people will say about me when they see me with you. I wouldn't like to lose the honour I've earned as squire to a nobleman.
Don't worry about what people say. They'll only strip you of your honour if you let them. So what then? Shall we take a nice little ride with my boys Snorter and Dragonfly here? Nice and early, at daybreak.
Let's get this over with then.
The dew is still on the leaves. The roads are clear. You don't need your horse. I'll stable him here. It'll be heaven for him. In any case, heaven's always close here. Hop on the wagon and Snorter and Dragonfly here will take care of us. Did I bring that stuff for Visor? Meat? Bane? Aesop? Got it all. Good. Come on, then. Get a move on. We've got a long journey ahead of us, so get yourself comfortable so your arse won't hurt. So, you say you're from Lower Semine, eh?
Well, not exactly. I'm not even from this region. I'm only doing some work for the miller.
I remember Crazel when he was still a wee lad. Even then he was a great big smart-ass. When I buried his parents, he was traipsing somewhere through the world. Maybe you heard what they say about Lower Sameen round these parts. Crazel don't sell short measure, not that. He looks out for his reputation, but his helpers have been seen often in the villages after dark, looking fishy. Or during the day, in the pillories. Don't that Bonnie of yours belong to that gang too?
Bonnie's an honest girl, and her friend Zinek is too. Crazel only sent them to scrape saltpetre off the walls of the sties, so that's just what they've been doing. From what she told me, they had nothing else in mind.
Lower Sameen's a thorn in the side for a lot of folk. Some on account of the competition. Some is just rubbed up the wrong way by that Crazel. Either way, all they need's the slightest excuse to grab their pitchforks. Go and grab the miller and shove his face right in his own millstone. Lazy bones. Whoa, boys, whoa! What's going on here? Come on. Come on! Are you deaf? Oh, they're acting stubborn again. Now listen, Henry. Here on the left side, you'll see the ruins of a cottage that's been abandoned for a few years.
It looks mysterious. What treasures might be hidden there?
You'll soon see. I have a trap set inside the cottage. I wanted to lure a wolf into it, but that didn't work out. There's a deer rotting there unnecessarily. So hop in there and bring it to the wagon. Finally, at least we're not blocking the road too much.
What?
Oh, Jesus, what a stench. Better quickly throw it in a sack and take it back to the wagon.
carcass down and get over here. You hear me? Are you right in the head? Sod off with that weapon. That's right. I want to talk...
What's going on, Ignatius?
I'm trying to explain to these fellas we've got nothing to do with no thieving around here. They should go to Lower Samine to complain.
Two stinking pieces of shit was sneaking around our sties and cellars and lining their purses with silver too while they was at it. Some scruffy and dunger. You must be scruffy, eh?
I'm Henry, and those, names mean nothing to me.
Like I said, if it's rotten carrion they're after, they should have come to me. A passion for knacking is the only thing we have in common.
Is that so? So prove it then.
Take a good look at me. Do I look like a thief? Or more like a commonplace, maybe just slightly grubby, hired hand? At this rate, you could blame any old peasant who's grimy after a hard day's work.
I don't know. I don't reckon I've ever seen a real thief up close.
Ask around about me and you'll find out everyone knows I can't stand a liar. I'll keep my promises and show up on time. So enough talk and let's carry on to where duty calls us.
All right, listen. We'll be going then. But if you happen to run into them two thieves, you tell us right away, got it?
Of course.
You can count on it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go, fellas. Maybe...
Not much left for us to do here, eh?
Hopefully our luck will hold out, and we'll only be breaking the limbs of carcasses today. The next farm's just up ahead. Hop on, and let's go. That was just a kind of little favour from me. Now we'll help the locals here in Jdar with their carcasses.
So far, I've just carried sacks. I already did that for the miller.
Yesterday, the good wife from that farm came and told me both their pigs died. So we'll scoop them up and haul them off. I mean, you scoop them up and haul them to my cart. She says it was a curse. There was a flash of lightning, the pigs started trembling, squealing and puking, and then keeled over and dropped dead.
And then Satan himself appeared in the sky. Happens all the time.
It ain't my first day doing this job, so I could see right off them pigs had been poisoned. The good wife swore them pigs were happy as, well, pigs in shit. She said they even let them go to a nearby stream to have a wallow. It flows here through the forest on the right. Since we're here, you ought to go and take a look around there. Check how clear that spring really is.
All right. I'll see what's going on there.
And I'm going to enjoy having a helper. At least for one day. Maybe I'll roll around in the grass here with Snorter and Dragonfly. Yeah! Yeah! Lazy.
Ow.
Yeah. Ugh, and another.
eh?
God reward you for it.
God don't reward me much, but I'll probably get something from the bailiff for hauling.
Well, I wish you and your helper lots of luck today. May God bless you.
You too.
Ew. Is this really worth it?
Bloody hell. Poor things. Christ, pardon me.
Get over here so we can carry on.
I took care of the carcasses. We can drive on.
And what about this mysterious curse?
Oh, right. Slipped my mind. The watering spot, you said?
Aye. Take a look around. See if you find anything fishy.
I took care of the carcasses.
And what about this mysterious curse?
I'm not in the mood to deal with it.
Making sure you don't work any more than you have to, eh? Let's go then. Hop on. We have one more stop before the grand revelation of unimaginable saltpetre treasure. Surely horsing around today. So far it ain't that bad, eh? You don't have to take down no hanged man or bury an unbaptized child.
Well, ever since I started working for the miller, all I did was carry sacks. The sack makers here in the region must live like kings. Of course, it could be a lot worse.
I like having to carry sacks full of thistles. Now listen to me closely. You won't be carrying anything at the next farmstead. Instead, you'll have to make one carcass there. See, the work of a knacker ain't just about clearing away dead animals. Now and then you've got to put down some creature so it don't suffer. Or, like today, to put it down so everyone around it don't have to suffer. In this case, we're talking about a dog.
Well, what can I do? But I doubt I'll feel good about it.
That cur belongs to the greengrocer, Vizar. I've heard they're both pretty fierce. Don't draw too much attention to yourself at the farmstead. I'll give you some Aesop potion to drink first, and some meat and bane. Soak the meat with the poison and throw it to the dog. He'll probably be locked in a pen somewhere. As soon as it's done, we'll disappear before anyone notices anything. I got paid well for it from the neighbors, so don't fuck it up for me. Lazy bones. Yeah! Yeah! Lazy bones. God bless you.
Oh, Sakra! The dog isn't here. The door's open. Where did he run off to?
Where'd you come from?
Bonnie? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Now, first, tell me what you're doing here. And how come you're with that beast?
He's no beast. I came here to save him.
You mean steal him?
For him, it'll be a redemption from that horse and master of his. I'll take care of him, in place of my poor dead sniffer.
Bonnie... The Gravedigger sent me to kill the dog. He's been paid to do it by the people whose livestock that beast killed. It's the last thing I need to do before he shows me the pit.
It's not the animal's fault. When Zenek and I were here last, I saw how old Vysarik treats him. He doesn't give him food, he abuses him. With a master like that, he won't last long. You wouldn't kill a dumb creature just because its master is a sick horseman, would you?
Well, you don't have to convince me. Ever since the Gravedigger told me to do it, I've been trying to figure out how to save that dog. If you want to take him, I won't stop you.
You're a much better Christian than I thought you were. I'll take him to the lair. We'll meet there.
Hurry off now, before someone sees us together.
Come on now, boy. You'll like it in the lair.
God bless. It's taken care of.
Taken care of? What do you mean?
The dog is dead. So, can we go to the pit now?
Dead, eh? And what are you so nervous about?
Well, it wasn't pleasant to watch. I did it exactly how you told me. I poisoned him.
Oh, aye. And how did it go exactly?
Well, I dipped the meat in poison. He ate it, and peacefully departed to doggy heaven.
So, it all went how it should. I use a real strong mixture so the creatures don't suffer too much. He's done for, the beast. Finally. Let's go before we start looking suspicious.
So this is it. This is the pit.
Slowly, boy, slowly. Have a bit of respect. Death always deserves respect, whether it's people or animals.
But there's hardly 3 heaps here. Is this really it? Are you yanking my pizzle again?
Of course not. True, it used to be one big pit. But then I found out when you pile up carcasses in smaller pits and throw some wet hay between them, it all rots better. And the better it rots, the more nitre you'll have. Are you going to take some right away?
I won't. I'll just tell Crazel where you have it. I don't know if he'll take something away. Maybe he'll just make his own pit according to your design.
Now that would be a great honour.
Well, I reckon I'm delaying the inevitable. I'll still have to taste it.
You're going to taste it?
It's the only way I can be certain it really is saltpetre.
God's nails. And they say I'm disgusting. Wait a moment. I've got a reward for you. Just so's you don't think old Ignatius and his even older nags is ungrateful riffraff. Take it as a thanks for your help. Maybe you'll take over my trade one day when I'm pushing up daisies myself.
Who knows? Maybe that'll really be my fate. I'll live at the cemetery, build piles of carcasses, and eat bread with saltpetre.
Here's something that'll definitely come in handy if you ever need to go through all this again. Either with me or somewhere else.
Thanks.
Taste it then. Get to it. This I have got to see.
Look at me. I'm a lord's messenger to a taster of cadavers. Cold and salty. This must be it. If you're going back to your cottage, I'd like to take a ride with you.
Of course. But in return, you have to help me get all this lot buried. So there's some more saltpetre in the making. God be with you, friend.
You have a kind master, eh, Mutt? Praise God.
Careful. Good evening. Do you need something?
I found the place where we can harvest saltpetre. You just head out of Troskovitz towards Apollonia, carry on alongside the road, then head off it at the right spot. Only it's not a pit, it's 3 piles of earth. The Gravedigger Ignatius drove me there himself.
And is it the real stuff? Did you taste it?
Yeah. And I hope I never have to do that again. Ugh. I think the experience has changed me forever.
Oh, come on. You whine more than Zinnik. It's just commonplace salt. I was hoping it'd be closer. To go all the way to Apollonia. If I send 2 wagons, that should be enough.
What should I do?
That means I could mix a barrel and a half.
Crazul, focus. What else do you need from me?
Oh, sorry. What were you asking? About a reward? It's right here.
Thanks. How's it going with the golem?
Well, the whole thing is really appealing to a scholar of my field of interest and important for humanity. But certain circumstances have emerged which, unfortunately,